Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ambassador's Lounge. Ladies and gentlemen, Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto visited Pakistan from 8th to 9th December this year, just a few days ago. This was the first visit of an Indonesian president since 2018, when the previous president came to Pakistan. The Indonesian president came with a senior level delegation, including at least 3 federal ministers, a federal secretary, cabinet secretary, and senior army officials. This was a very significant visit for both the countries. What is the significance of this visit? To discuss this issue, we have with us today, we are welcoming Ambassador Abdul Salik Khan. Ambassador Abdul Salik Khan has been Pakistan's ambassador to Indonesia, and he has a distinguished career, diplomatic career with the Foreign Service of Pakistan. He has been ambassador to Kazakhstan, Consul General to Jeddah, and has held important diplomatic assignments at home and abroad. Welcome, Salik, to Ambassador's Lounge. Good to have you here.
Thank you.
To ask the questions and discuss this particular significance of this visit, as I said, I have with me my colleague, Ambassador Tanveer Khaskheli. Tanveer Khaskheli has been also has served Pakistan's missions in Singapore, in Australia, and Colombo. So these two gentlemen have in-depth knowledge and information about the dynamics that have taken place in the past and that are taking place in today's world. So, Salik, let's start the discussion, and I have the privilege to ask you, being the anchor person today. Salik, as we have learned that at least 8 MOUs have been signed during the visit of Indonesian president, and there is a lot of talk about rebalancing the trade deficit that Pakistan has vis-a-vis Indonesia. There are certain skeptics who say that although a number of MOUs have been signed, but Pakistan's track record says that after signing and after all that fanfare, so many agreements, and photo ops, Pakistan has failed to carry through the agreements that have been signed, with various countries. What do you think that, is there a genuine will on both sides to carry forward the relationship, in various sectors and various fields of bilateral cooperation?
Thank you very much, Ambassador Ayaz. I really thankful to Ambassador Lounge inviting me on this important visit, a significant one that took place recently. Visit of a head of state or of a head of government from any country is very, very significant on the bilateral front. Similarly, the visit taken by Prabowo Subianto along with a high-level delegation, in fact, is a positive development, is a significant development in the bilateral relations of the two countries. Pakistan and Indonesia remained good friends. Historically, we enjoyed warm relationship, and overall, the relationship between the two countries can be called as friction-free as far as regional and international issues are concerned, which are of any importance to Pakistan as well as to the Muslim Ummah. I can say that we can divide the relationship into 3 phases. The first phase was when the two countries came into being. At that time, President Sukarno President Ayub, and so many others, they undertook visits in 1950s, and then there was a time in 60s, and then 70s. In 80s and 70s, relationship was okay, was positive, but that was not that warm. And later on, I would say that 2018 onwards, relationship between Pakistan and Indonesia has taken a new turn. I would call it a significant positive turn that is going to change the overall complexion of relationship between Indonesia and Pakistan, the two countries which constitute the almost over 500 million Muslims all over the world. So these two countries are the largest Muslim countries in the world. They have so many commonalities. The most common thing between Pakistan and Indonesia is religion. And that kept the two countries warm. And you can see throughout the history, you will see such kind of relationship through many gestures given by both leadership from Indonesia and leadership from Pakistan.
Mm-hmm. But my question still remains unanswered, that whether so many MOUs that have been signed, is there a genuine will on both sides to implement these MOUs, do you think?
I think that when the two heads of state are between any two countries, when you sign MOUs, they are meant to implement. They are meant to bring positive change. Mm-hmm. So I think we should we should have a positive hope that yes, these agreements, though these agreements are confined to education, economy,
manpower, export, of health care,
and of course including defense. As you said, that this is a significant visit, as you in your initial introduction, that President Prabowo, came to Pakistan with this. This is, one important thing is that we have completed 75 years of our diplomatic relations. Yeah. So this visit also signifies that the continuity of relationship between the two countries in the last 75 years, and the relationship remained positive throughout, remained warm throughout. I think that provide enough, guarantees for implementation of the MOUs signed between the two countries.
Tanveer?
Thank you, Ayaz. Salik, welcome to the Ambassador Lounge.
Thank you.
What I'll be asking is not on bilateral thing. I think there's another topic which was discussed also during the visit. That is the ASEAN Pakistan. Indonesia being an important member, rather one of the founding members of ASEAN. We have seen in the past that, we have been part of the dialogue partnership and all, but somehow or the other, it did not take off. I think Pakistan, either maybe it lacked on our part, lackness, or the other countries were also probably, because I remember we had the Secretary General of ASEAN visiting here way back, but nothing concrete happened. And ASEAN is one of the organizations which has biggest trading bloc, rather I would say, with China also and all that. And I believe they talked. So do you see Indonesia being one of the leading things? Then the Secretariat of the ASEAN is also in Indonesia. Will they be able to help Pakistan come back on track and and take benefit from the visit and of that kind?
Yeah, Ambassador Khaskhali, excellent questions you have asked. I think Indonesia, being the founding member of ASEAN, and because of the ASEAN headquarter, has a lot of influence in the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. ASEAN also has great importance for Pakistan. As you said that it is an economic bloc. Yes, primarily it is an economic bloc, which has other connotations also. It has a political, social, and other repercussions of this bloc on the entire region. There should be, one thing is one should be clear to one, that ASEAN as a group, they have common culture, they have common, I would say, lot of commonalities, and they are moving as a group. Since its, creation, they have come up as a very, very strong and powerful economic group in the region. Their trade, the trade within the ASEAN and ASEAN's exports and import have crossed almost 4 trillion. So we cannot omit the importance of such an important bloc. As far as Pakistan is concerned, Pakistan is a sectoral partner of ASEAN since 1993. We have been trying, and this is one of our major talking points, that we should be made dialogue partner of ASEAN. But as ASEAN is an economic group, and as economy is their number one priority, Pakistan over the period has not been able to create that impact overall among all the ASEAN countries.
Or match up to their expectations?
Match up to their expectations, one. And number two, our total, I think, trade with the ASEAN countries is around 11 billion. And that out of that 11 billion, only 5 ASEAN countries with whom we have, major trade is with the 5 ASEAN countries. In order to penetrate into this organization, and in order to get real economic benefits from that, what we need to do is that we have to improve economically. Once we have economic interaction with each member of the ASEAN, I think that then Pakistan will have good chances of reaping fruit out of this association. Since 1993, as I said, that we are sectoral partnership, and we have not been able to make much success or much impact in the organization as such. We talk a lot about it, but our performance on the economic front has not been
practically we have not been
not satisfactory. If you have to impress them, you have to come up economically.
Salik, the previous interactions between Indonesia and Pakistani leadership have remained more or less confined to trade and economics. This is the first time it is being said that during this recent visit of Indonesian president, a whole gamut of bilateral relationship has been identified, and it has been pledged, through MOUs that both the countries are going to work on these lines to strengthen relationship in these areas. Now, let me ask you that the Indonesia-Pakistan preferential trade agreement was signed in 2012 and came into effect in 2013. And now in this particular MOU which has been signed during this visit, it has been agreed that this preferential trade agreement is going to be not only revised, but it's going to be improved, you know. Now, there's also, there was a talk that from both sides that the trade gap between Pakistan and Indonesia is quite wide. Out of $4.5 billion total trade volume, Pakistan's exports are almost negligible, you know, 10% or so.
100 billion.
Well, they say the 90% of this 4.5 billion are exports from Indonesia to Pakistan. Now, you have been ambassador to Indonesia. What do you see the potential of Pakistan's products making, you know, their niche market in Indonesia? You know, what are the non-traditional items that have some potential for export to Indonesia? And do you think that the non-tariff barriers which have been hampering Pakistan's exports to Indonesia will be lifted, and Pakistani exporters will be able to take advantage of the new situation?
My question to you would be, what Pakistan has to export?
Exactly,
to
yes,
Indonesia?
yeah.
That is very, very important. We talk a lot that we want to export so many commodities to so many countries.
Yep.
But what we have?
Very limited.
You have only
export
textiles.
basket, yes.
You have rice.
Yeah.
You have fruit.
Yeah.
On the basis of only these 3, 4, 5 items, you cannot make market in Indonesia is a huge market. It is a market of 270 million people.
Yep.
And as you are saying that there are certain tariffs which are hampering trade, I would say there are inherent problems within Pakistani system that is not allowing Pakistani products to go outside. You know, in the recent visit, one agreement which has been signed about halal meat.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yep.
It is a very simple, you know, Indonesia is a Muslim country which has 270 million population. Around 89% are Muslims. But you have to fulfill certain requirements to send your halal meat to Indonesia. When I was there as ambassador, you know, in this, you know, visit, they have signed, the two sides signed, the two authorities have signed agreement. It is not the agreement that matters. It is the requirements which we have to fulfill before exporting halal meat to Indonesia. We have, first of all, what I think, that we do not have export surplus. Whether it is textile, whether it is meat, or whether it is right to up to some extent we have certain, you know, quantity, but to make Pakistan, you know, to have a larger share in the Indonesian market, we need to perform well at home.
Yep.
Once we have export surplus, only then we will be able to export our commodities and our products to other countries, including Indonesia. And Indonesia is just one country, you know. Once you enter into ASEAN, ASEAN is a huge market. But we have to create niche, as you said. And we can create niche only once our domestic system is in order. You know, if we have enough export surplus, if we have if we provide conducive atmosphere to the investors, if we facilitate our businessmen, you know, in a country where doing any kind of business become a problem for people, you know, how can you expect that you can make market outside? So what you have to do is that you have to focus more on the domestic front to create a export surplus. And then we can find market. Of course, the markets are there.
Tanveer?
Sadiq, I think I'll continue with the same thing which we are discussing right now. I would say problem is not like Pakistan, Indonesia. It's everywhere, wherever we try to do business. We don't have the capacity in many, sectors. We think that, rice comes, and fruits come, and we say that we have the best and best, but maximum
How much rice we can export?
one or two consignments, and then we are hands up.
That's it.
And the problem is our policy makers, people, we are very fond of signing MOUs and agreements and all those, but how many? We have a basket full of agreements and MOUs with China. Even, people can't remember the names in the list. I'm sure if this time they have signed MOUs, I'm sure if you were there, you must be knowing that we must have signed in the past also many MOUs and agreements. And how many have been implemented and really they have worked out. Out of these sectors, do you think that, still there were so many other sectors which could have been included? I'll take, for example, of our, because we are showing off every time any visitor is coming to our country as our defense equipment and all those. What is the scope of our defense industry in Indonesia if we say that, we can export?
Tanveer, as far as our defense industry is concerned, we should be proud of it. We have made, I would say, very significant progress in the defense industry. Our defense products are making market. But as far as Indonesia is concerned, to export your defense product to any country, it requires a certain, convergence of views and requirements. So what we can do, that we can have a collaboration with Indonesia and other countries, then we can move forward.
A JV,
and we can,
a kind of a JV, joint ventures?
Of course, we can go for joint ventures. That is one of the, I would say, acceptable, way
Norm.
for the two countries. But as you said, that without giving importance, without providing conducive environment in our country, I don't think that we can have much to export.
And even like, for example, it's not the government sector, the private sector also. I think both the sectors have to be given equal opportunity. Because we have seen in our country, we went through the phase of nationalization and industries were ruined. And then they were, sold on throwaway prices. It's unfortunate. Thank you.
Well, Salik, let me ask you, now coming to politics as such, you must have read the joint communique, joint statement after the visit was concluded. It tangentially mentioned Kashmir. If I remember correctly, the words are to the effect that Pakistan side briefed the Indonesian side on the Kashmir issue, and the Indonesian side emphasized on dialogue and peaceful settlement of all disputes. Now, do you think that Pakistan side has failed to really elicit any positive response, a specific response from the Indonesian leadership, whereas we in Pakistan, we support territorial integrity of Indonesia, particularly Aceh, and West Papua, secessionist movement, etc. How do you think that, was it a half success or perhaps a failure on part of Pakistan?
I don't think that it is a failure on part of Pakistan as far as eliciting support on the Kashmir issue. The Kashmir issue has taken a very complex, has become very, very complex in the present times. Indonesia, as you mentioned, that has only said that they would like to see a bilateral and solution in accordance with the international, in accordance with the UN and international resolutions. I think Pakistani side wanted that the issue of Kashmir should be kept alive, and the support are a sort of neutral, nod or whatever you call it, which we have received from the Indonesian side. Of course, we are not satisfied, or we should not be satisfied with that. But why? Because Indonesia, as you mentioned, is also facing certain, for example, Aceh and in Papua, they have,
active insurgency actually going
separatism
yes,
movements, which of course giving clear support on Kashmir might jeopardize their own, unity.
Okay.
So this is one of the major reasons that we may not be able to get a clear support from the Indonesian side on the issue of Kashmir.
That makes a lot of sense.
But as I said, that Indonesia has a huge Muslim population, and as far as the people of Indonesia are concerned, they are with the people of Kashmir. When I was there as ambassador, I used to get opportunity to address, the gatherings, Muslim gatherings there. There are two biggest organizations, Muhammadiyah and Nahdlatul Ulama. The Nahdlatul Ulama's membership is around 90 million. And the other Islamic group has 30 million, this thing.
Following.
So when you go to them and when you talk to them, you see that they have a soft corner for the people of Kashmir. And their heart, are with us. But on the government level, of course, government has its own
Constraints.
and those constraints are the reason that you don't get clear support.
Right. Okay.
Since you were talking of Kashmir and other thing, and I thought of mentioning the classic example of Timor-Leste, how it was, done by the international organization and all those. Maybe Indonesians were more concerned because of that. Now, we're talking of a lot of things. I thought of why not talk about something from history between Pakistan and Indonesia. That since our recognition in the 50s onwards and the way it is. And since you have served there also and must have gone through the briefs and all those, the relationship or the leadership from the beginning till the present days, do you think that that kind of a bilateral relationship, the warmth and things have continued in the same spirit, or there were ups and downs? And do the government or the people to people, how do you see that picture that, if you, as you said, people are very much for Kashmir and all, but the government level, so did the policies change on since our, independence and all those, especially on Kashmir related issues? How do you see the overall picture in terms of relations which were on people to people or on government to government level?
I think I should call it a positive and warm. The relationship remained positive throughout. There are times that we had very warm relationship. For example, during Sukarno's period, and when they dispatched submarines and gunboats to Pakistan during 1965 war. Okay. He clearly ordered, and they were in the high seas when they were, asked to come to Karachi. Although the submarines and those gunboats reached once the ceasefire had already been done, but the gesture was such that still the people of Pakistan and the armed forces of Pakistan not only remember but appreciate. And when I was ambassador there, we sent our defense attaché, who found out the commander of the Navy, who retired as Rear Admiral, and he came to the embassy, and we highly appreciated his gesture. So those were the time when we had very, very warm relationship. Of course, that warm relationship has come back. I would say that we have very good friendly relations with Indonesia, and we have lot of potential to make it more substantial and make it more powerful and more friendly.
Salik, one of the most important things that was discussed, and highlighted during the visit was from President Prabowo that both Pakistan and Indonesia, they have identical positions on the Palestinian issue. Both the countries support two-state solution, on the same parameters that have been agreed in the past in various agreements. It was also specifically mentioned by President Prabowo that he had instructed his concerned officials and ministers to coordinate closely with Pakistan on this particular issue of Gaza. Now, we know that immediately after the endorsement of 28-point plan of Mr. Trump by the Security Council on 16th November, Indonesia had announced that it was willing to participate, to contribute its troops, about 20,000 or so, as said by their defense minister. And Pakistan is also contemplating participation, sending its troops to Gaza. Now, how do you think that both the countries are complementing each other? Are they watching each other's moves, or there is some other kind of thinking that is taking place on sending or not sending the troops to Gaza for international stabilization force?
As far as Gaza and Palestine are concerned, I think both Pakistan and Indonesia enjoy, I would say, not only both the countries have unanimity of views. Both Indonesia and Pakistan both Pakistan and Indonesia are Muslim countries. Their population support the Palestinian cause, and this is one of the points where the two countries and the two governments, they agree. But the question is that how would they contribute if the two sides, Pakistan and Indonesia, they join together, they can influence the regional organization, they can leave their impact on UN and other organizations to at least create good environment for the people of Palestine.
Mm-hmm. Okay, one last question, Salik. As I mentioned in the beginning, that the high-level delegation also included senior security and defense officials also. And we also know that in July this year, the defense minister, Mr. Jasimuddin, he also visited Pakistan along with some intelligence high officials to Pakistan. This time round as well, 2 air marshals were included, in the contingent, in the delegation. Now, and a defense MOU has been signed. How do you think that Pakistan does have the capacity to in any way help, support, export its defense equipment to Indonesia, and how deep what is the potential of defense cooperation as has been highlighted in the MOU on defense particularly?
I think that the potential for cooperation in the defense field exists between the two countries. But if you are thinking, or if somebody thinks that defense cooperation would be very, very meaningful, I don't see such kind of cooperation which you can call it a real, in real terms, a strong defense cooperation because both the countries, Pakistan and Indonesia, they pursue different objectives, and I don't see that that will have its impact on the overall defense cooperation between the two countries. Yes, there is potential. Both Pakistan and Indonesia may find various, both Pakistan and Indonesia can have, cooperation in training of defense personnel, and they can cooperate in
transnational terrorism, for instance, narcotics, and piracy, etc. illegally.
That come under security, but that doesn't come under defense. This thing, but yes, they can do. But the defense cooperation, as some say, that should have a real reason for having strong defense cooperation between the two countries. That I don't see that both Pakistan and Indonesia have such a
common.
I don't think that that is the purpose of the two countries, to go into deep defense, cooperation.
Well, thank you, Ambassador Salik, for a very fruitful discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, there are a few takeaways, from this discussion. You must have noted down. One is that this was a visit, after so many years hiatus from Indonesia, and a host of agreements have been signed. A lot of ambition has been reflected, in these MOUs and on various other issues of bilateral, regional, and global import. But we also discussed whether there is a potential or there is a will to implement these MOUs. What are the constraints? What are the roadblocks which will be encountered on the way? And if or whether there is a will to overcome them. We also discussed, as you must have noted, various aspects of bilateral relations between Indonesia and Pakistan. The two countries enjoy excellent bilateral relations. They are historical, and what we see in the future, that this relationship is going to gain more strength and the cooperation is going to more momentum. Let's hope for good. It will be mutually beneficial for the two countries. Thank you very much for your interest and your attention. We will be back till then. Khuda Hafiz, and please do remember to subscribe to our channel. Thank you very much. Khuda Hafiz.